6S Plus versus iPhone 7 Plus versus iPhone 8 Plus iOS 11.2 speed test. That video is coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 6S Plus versus the iPhone 7 Plus versus the iPhone 8 Plus iOS 11.2 speed test. Now, I did do the smaller iPhone comparison the other day. I asked you guys if you wanted to see the bigger one with the pluses, and here we are. The only one from this test I don't have here is the 6 Plus. Never purchased that phone, but I should be getting it soon because I kind of want to round out this iPhone lineup. But let's begin with the A9 CPU on the boot up here, which is the 6S Plus, and see how long it does take to boot up. Now remember, this is a 2015 phone, and this does have like a under 2 gigahertz clock speed, 1.84 gigahertz, and it is 2 gigabytes of RAM. So while definitely not the highest clock speed of the newer processors, it still should be pretty fast to boot up. Now, I do have the Samsung chip in mind, not the TSMC model, and you should see we finished with right around 25.02 seconds on iOS 11.2 for Apple's iPhone 6S Plus. Let's get on to the 7 Plus now. Okay, so if we can remember correctly, the iPhone 6S Plus had 25.02 to boot up here. Now we're gonna look at the A10 Fusion chip, 3 gigabytes of RAM, iOS 11.2. So that's really the reason we're testing these here, is due to the latest software. We want to see like if we're buying an iPhone right now, or we just kind of want to see how all the older iPhones are performing in comparison to the latest ones. And this should finish slightly faster than the iPhone 6S Plus due to its quad-core fusion as well as its 3 gigabytes of RAM. So jet black iPhone 7 Plus finishes here at 23.34 seconds for its boot up. Now let's see if that A11 CPU can beat the iPhone 7 Plus with its boot up test. So here we are with the Apple iPhone 8 Plus. This guy does run an Apple A11 CPU. This also does have 3 gigabytes of RAM, just like the iPhone 7 Plus, and it actually has been one of the fastest booting devices I've ever seen. The Google Pixel is actually the fastest booting devices in the world that I've seen so far, but in terms of Apple stuff, the 8 Plus and 8 are really quick to boot up, as well as the Apple iPhone 10. So we finish here on the Apple iPhone 8 Plus at right around 19.49 seconds. So really quick to boot up. It might be even faster if I slightly missed it by a second when tapping the timer. So the fastest of the bunch here easily goes to the iPhone 8 Plus when it comes to the boot up test. Confirming the software, let's talk about the 6S Plus. I just want to make sure you know this is fair. iOS 11.2 15C 114 on 6S Plus. Heading over to the iPhone 7 Plus, it's the same deal here. iOS 11.2 15C 114. And finally, let's wrap this up here on the iPhone 8 Plus, just so you know these are all on the same exact version, so you know this is not a cheating test. Let's go ahead and get into the speed test portion of this video, which we really want to see which one is quicker here. Let's start here for the iPhone 6S Plus, going in the weather, coming out. Let's go in the clock, coming in the camera. You can see just flying through here on the 6S Plus. The Apple A9 is still a very fast chip here, even in 2017. So if you're looking to buy a 6S series device, you're going to be pretty happy with the performance for at least a year or two more. It should even actually go a little bit longer than that. They still have 4K cameras, so really strong devices nonetheless. iOS 11.2 looking much better than earlier versions of iOS 11 on the 6S series. So we finish up here with a 31.74 on its speed test. Let's head over to the A10 Fusion chip now and see how that performs on Apple's iPhone 7 series. Specifically here, we're looking at the iPhone 7 Plus, and you can see just flying through with that capacitive home button. It definitely feels like a faster device here. Heading into 10 seconds, it looks like we are ahead of what we've seen on the Apple iPhone 6S Plus. So going into YouTube, coming out, let's get into Mario. Here's where it starts to slow down just a little bit. Power VR graphics here. And going into the apple.com, you can see coming out into Jetpack Joyride. I'm about to wrap this test up here for Apple's iPhone 7 Plus. And we do finish with a total of 29.77. So a slight improvement over the 6S Plus, only about 2 seconds here. Let's get into Apple's iPhone 8 Plus, the Apple A11 CPU with 3 gigabytes of RAM, a slightly higher clock speed than what you find on the Apple iPhone 7 Plus. So this should give you a faster score theoretically. We are in the iPhone 8 Plus's Mario Run test, getting into Apple.com and going into Jetpack Joyride. We should see a few seconds quicker here over the iPhone 7 Plus, but you can see it's not too much as you would think. You would think it would just blow away the competition, but not really. So that's why it's still probably a good value to buy the older devices. Let's go ahead and run a Geekbench for those of you who care about the scores on your devices and how well they perform on this test. So you can see running a CPU benchmark, A9 versus A10 Fusion versus A11. And you can see, I'll be back when these are done to see the final scores here. So on paper, you can see 2183 for single on 6S Plus, 3528 for 7 Plus, 4240 for 8 Plus. And heading over to multi-core, you can see 4020 on 6S Plus, 6019 on the multi-core for 7 Plus, and 10457 on 8 Plus. So that's pretty much it here between iPhone 6S Plus, iPhone 7 Plus, and iPhone 8 Plus when it comes to iOS 11.2. No matter which way you go here or which phone you have here, they're all running better than prior versions. I have yet to do a battery test on these devices, but I can tell you I've been using the 8 Plus a little bit more than the other two, and the battery life has definitely seemed to improve. Now, it's not quite where I want it to be, but we are going to have more updates going forward, and iOS 11 should get better. If you found this video helpful and enjoyable, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more. Nick here helping you to master your technology, and peace.